You will.
Okay. If we just could start with a little resume of what you have been doing in Sweden so far.
So, the visit to Sweden in this particular case is a combination of meeting with both the military and the government advisors, especially around national security and cybersecurity. This is a long-standing relationship between both the United States and Sweden, as well as Cisco here in the region, having been involved in so many of the work projects that have gone on. So we do annual briefings. We work with the government towards helping make the citizens safer. We work together on global problems, and we exchange information that helps us do it better.
Yeah. What kind of issues is it that they want to talk to you about?
Well, so one of the most important issues I think that pops up consistently is how do we handle and keep under control the threats that we're all facing together? Cisco, essentially helped build the foundations of the internet. We've got the majority of the infrastructure that carries the traffic between countries, between companies. And in that vein, we've had a great deal of experience in both building a very resilient network infrastructure, as well as learning about the threats to it and how we can best address them. It's not really sort of well known. Cisco's always thought of as a networking company, but we happen to be, in terms of revenue, the largest security company as well. And so as a result of the research work that we do and the global threat analytics, as well as installing and creating creative technologies to help mitigate some of them, it's about that kind of how do we build the best resilient and best protected network. Last part of this, and all walks of life, you can walk around the globe to every country and you see this. Every government wants to keep the safety of its citizens and its economics as its two most important missions. And when those two come together on the internet, where the economy is driven by the internet and the security needs to be embedded, it's almost always a conversation we're going to end up having.
And then also we have this big issue with hacktivism. I mean, anonymous groups like that who's trying to stop democracy in a way with a different kind of denial of service attacks. What do you think we could do there? How can society protect itself?
It's nothing new. Activism before hacktivism has been a part of society all the way back to the Romans. And I think we've got to remember that too, is that this is a voice trying to express itself and say something. Now, how do you protect against it? Well, I think part of it is, you just experience it. You have to go through it a little bit to understand its point. And the point of many hacktivists is changing. In some cases, it's positioned on one particular government's activities. In another case, it's against one particular person's statement. Each is one that we both go through. And when I think about what hacktivism really means, is it's increased unpredictability. So imagine, if you will, you and I are playing a sort of a game of chess. I start out thinking you a couple of moves, you start out thinking me a couple of moves. But essentially, we know what the rules are. And so we also kind of know what the most likely options are that are going to happen. Hacktivism is very unpredictable. Today might be a perfectly normal day. Tomorrow, you might find yourself under the guns, if you will, of a hacktivist group that's decided you've done something they don't like. So that unpredictability is hard to handle. And I think that's what more and more hacktivism is proving, is by guilty by association or guilty by actual action, you might become a victim. The part that I guess I have to ask myself, though, is how do we use it towards making our own infrastructures better? And if nothing else, hacktivism is showing the very porous and brittle nature of many networks and many systems that, frankly, have got to be repaired anyway. And so if I were trying to look for an upside on all of this, and I'm certainly not advocating it, But if you have to use it in some positive way, the way would be to actually increase the resiliency of that which your systems has. They should not be successful in many respects, but our own infrastructure practices and our own systems are probably what's making it possible.